And istud'ifu in the Arabic language, it's beautiful how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says it, istud'ifu. Istud'ifu to those among them who believed. Do you know Salih to be an emissary from the Lord? The word istid'af in the Arabic language is the perception of weakness. That's what it means. It doesn't mean those who are weak. It means those who are perceived to be weak. And that's why Allah, the chiefs amongst his people, okay, Salih, this is Qawm Thamud, who were conceited, said to those who they perceived to be powerless, perceived to be weak in society, but they're not weak. And history is going to dictate, well, it's al-aqiba lil-muttaqeen. The end of it is for those, is for whom? Those who are conscious of Allah Jalla fil-Ula. So it's a perception of weakness. Look at them when they go to Badr and they see what the army of the Prophet ﷺ, they see a ragtag army, Quraysh with all of their fine armor and their fine steel and their fine cavalry and their fine horses and their fine camels and their great food and the party they brought along. And then they see the army of the Prophet ﷺ, which they consider ragtag, 330 individuals. You only have one horse, Sayyidina Miqdad ibn Aswad, one horse they have. And they look at the sword, and who made those swords? What are they going to do? And Abu Jahl, Amr ibn Hisham, who's the general of the army on that day, he says, fight. He says, let's get some rope, tie them up and just drag them back to Mecca. Ragtag army, there's no war today. Perception of weakness. And then they routed. Where was weakness on that day? Yawma iltaqal jam'an. Look what Allah calls it, the day when the two great armies met. Well, where was the greatness of the 313? It wasn't external greatness. It was internal greatness. The reality of where their connection was with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why when one of the reconnaissance of the Quraysh, he sent to go and look the army that's coming. And he goes and he rides around the army. He's looking at the army of the Prophet, riding around, doesn't engage them. And then he goes back. And then they say, what do you say? He says, few in numbers, roughly 300. Get to the point, roughly 300 people, just by gazing at them. You can count them like that, roughly 300 people. He says, what do you say? I advise we turn back, we don't fight. He says, why? He says, any people who come out looking like that for war, there's something beyond what you see. He says, go back, don't fight these people. See, he recognized the reconnaissance there, and Abu Jahl gets mad. What do you mean, go back? And that's when he goes, and when he sees them, he says, ragtag, tie them up with rope, we'll drag them back to Mecca. Okay, and they were routed. The reality of where strength lies. And that again should inform our identity, because we are what one of our weaknesses. Power for us is the same place where the disbelievers, the kuffar, place power. In the outward, that's where we perceive power. We perceive power in wealth. We perceive family in whatever blood lineage that we may have, that Allah Ta'ala has supposedly preferred us with or not preferred us with. We see it in the positions that we hold, the houses that we have, the cars that we drive, in the